Cultivation set up the battle between Scadrial and Roshar. Wind and Truth ended the first half of the Stormlight Archives with the situation on Roshar looking grim. Retribution is unleashed on the Cosmere as a whole. Cultivation, which looked to be the only shard that was actually trying to rein in odium, fled to an unknown location, and as a bonus, whether you like the plot point or not, even though it was foreshadowed all the way back in Words of Radiance, video linked below, Odium has the concept of the Blackthorne on his side. Not only is Roshar in trouble, but having the Blackthorne at his side will be a boon for Retribution and the war against the Cosmere as a whole. But what if I told you that this was Cultivation's plan all along? What if I told you that Cultivation set up not just one, but two different Dishardic vessels to go to war with each other? What if I told you that an alliance between Shards has been hinted at behind the scenes for quite some time, and that Cultivation didn't flee, but instead made a tactical retreat to put Retribution in a false sense of security? I want to warn you before going ahead that this video may not just spoil Brandon's already published works, but could very well spoil a yet-to-be-revealed battle that will determine not just the fate of 2 planets and 4 shards, but the Cosmere itself. First, let's talk about Cultivation's supposed retreat at the end of Wind and Truth. We never, in all of the Stormlight Archives, get a perspective from Cultivation. We see her on page a few times, we see her machinations, and see others hearing her voice a decent amount of times as well. But we never get her perspective. In multi-perspective books, not getting a character's perspective can tell you just as much as getting the perspective. It can even tell you more. What secrets of Cultivation would have been revealed if we saw inside her planning mind? You see, we have different characters referencing Cultivation leaving. One thing we never see, though, is Cultivation actually fleeing. Retribution claims in chapter 145 that Cultivation, terrified, had ejected herself from Roshar. But is Retribution correct? Just a couple chapters earlier, in chapter 143, Dalinar noted, Taravangian in turn had just been confronted with the realization that he could have fought against Dalinar and lost. Taravangian would take the wrong lesson from that. Dalinar knew it, for their understanding of one another went both ways. He knew Taravangian would be worrying right now that he was too weak, that he might have been destroyed if Dalinar had actually fought him. Taravangian was terrified because he realized he didn't have enough power. He thought the solution was more power, and after he got that power, he believed that the only reason Cultivation would have for leaving is fear. But here's the thing. The one who coaxed Dalinar into becoming Honor's vessel is Cultivation. During chapter 139 of Wind and Truth, in Dalinar's perspective, there's this quote. It is time, Dalinar. That was Cultivation's voice. Speak the words. You know them now. Cultivation wanted Dalinar to take up the power. Cultivation wanted Dalinar to forfeit the power, and Cultivation wanted other shards, specifically Harmony, to get involved. It doesn't even make a lot of sense for Cultivation to have not predicted this. We've seen the signs coming for a long time through Moelec, a piece of Odium. Odium who's not nearly as good as Cultivation when it comes to predicting the future. The Way of Kings, chapter 11 epigraph says, 3 of 16 ruled, but now the broken one reigns. The very events of this book have been foretold by a piece of Odium all the way back in Way of Kings. Are we supposed to believe that Moelec was able to predict this, but Cultivation couldn't? But was Cultivation acting alone in this? Storms no. She had an alliance with at least 2 other shards, not including the one she feigned with Honor. And yes, I do think she was feigning that. The first canon hint we get of this is in Oathbringer. In Endowment's letter to Hoyd about Odium, Endowment writes, if Raze becomes an issue, he will be dealt with. One of the first world hoppers we see on Roshar is Vashar, or Zael as he goes by on Roshar, who is from the same planet as Endowment. But Vashar is missing a key part of his wardrobe, Nightblood. Why though? Because it was given to the Night Watcher, a spren originally of Adonalsium, but cultivated by Cultivation. This is confirmed in Dalinar's flashback during Oathbringer. When he visits the Night Watcher, one of the things she offers him is a blade that leaks black smoke. This is a blade that was given sentience by a combination of breaths and endowments meddling. It is this very blade that was used by Taravangian to destroy Rays, which opened up the capability for Retribution to be formed. Rays would have never taken the power of another shard. Taravangian, though, could be manipulated. This is also part of the reason why I think the mystery entity that has a claim on Dalinar's soul is Endowment. Whether he'll be returned or something else, I'm unsure, but I do think we will be seeing an aspect of Dalinar again. Okay, so I don't think anything in that section was too revolutionary. But what about the rest of my claims? Well, longtime viewers of this channel will know that I think that Cultivation is behind the prophecy of the Hero of Ages. It's never confirmed in or out of book that Laris was the one that prepared it, and the prophecy being fulfilled requires going against Preservation's intent. However, it aligns perfectly with Cultivation and Endowment. You may be wondering why I keep bringing up Cultivation and Endowment when talking about Scadrial. There is a reason for that once again, longtime viewers of this channel will know about. Mistborn the Well of Ascension has a non-canon alternate ending that has the Mist Spirit, Preservation, along with 3 other shards in the fight scene between Sazed and Marsh in the Covenant of Saren. If this is non-canon, then why am I bringing it up? Because Brandon has a history of waiting to release old versions of his works due to the potential of them spoiling things that haven't been revealed. In this alternate ending, Brandon was very cagey about what the 3 other Mist Spirits were. Marsh screamed, Sazed turned, and found 3 more of the spirits standing behind Marsh. The Inquisitor turned away from them, stumbling. As one, the 3 spirits raised their hands and pointed towards the doorway. The one there stepped aside. The only reason we have any confirmation about who the other Mist Spirits were is because someone pressed Brandon when he was initially intending on not revealing anything. This is how the exchange went. First selector, I thought those 4 were the 4 Mist people. Brandon, oh, the 4 Mist people, that's... Oh, I've got a rap of that, right? First selector, well, it's not canon technically. Brandon, no, it's not canon. Okay, I just have to dig back deep, but there is stuff. Brandon knew that even though this was technically no longer canon, there were things it could spoiling. Just letting us know that Endowment was there could spoil something, but it being about a non-canon Cosmere work would potentially make it obscure enough that no one would be able to draw any connections. But Brandon did reveal that Endowment was there, and I believe that Cultivation was one of the other shards. Who the final shard was is anyone's guess. I would assume Reason, as it's a shard that Brandon's had plans for a long time before its reveal, but that is honestly just a guess. The final piece, though, is the war between Retribution and Harmony. Why do I believe that this is going to happen? It's been long thought that Roshar and Scadrial are going to go to war at some point. I don't see the shards of the other planets ignoring the conflict. Surprisingly, war is one of the few things I could see causing Harmony to actually be able to act, due to a war between planets being against the very nature of Harmony. And Retribution can use the Ghostblood's operations on Roshar as reason for Retribution. And now the rub. The reason why this isn't the end of the Stormlight Archive or the end of Mistborn, but why this is the endgame for the Cosmere itself. The point of the Sunmaker's Gambit is to get the other shards involved. As of the end of Wind and Truth, the remaining shards are Harmony, Retribution, Cultivation, Endowment, Autonomy, Invention, Mercy, Valor, Whimsy, and Reason. 10 of the 16 remain. 4 are deceased, and 2 groups of 2 have merged. At the very least, I expect Cultivation, Endowment, and 1 other shard to be involved. Remember the 3 extra Mist Spirits from the alternate ending in Well of Ascension? At the very least, I'm expecting 5 shards to be involved in this conflict. And now that he's free, I don't expect Retribution to continue to leave the other shards alone. This conflict will come after quite a few casualties of deific proportion. This battle will be between Harmony, Cultivation, Endowment, and at least 1 other shard against Retribution. Or at least, Cultivation will be there, perhaps with a greater purpose. That purpose is to continue her work on cultivating a vessel to be the new Adonalsium, or Unity. Link for that theory in the description down below as well. She finally found a vessel that is able to use the shard's powers as they were meant to be used. Someone that will be the hero of all ages. Sazed doesn't just match up with Ruin or Preservation. Sazed endowed Exilium with the tools he needed to take on the set. Sazed has proven his honor and how much he values oaths and his protection of Vin when she was being pursued by Steel Inquisitors. Sazed has proven his passion in just about every part of his life before ascending. And Sazed has continued to cultivate, not just in life with Vin, but also post-ascension with Exilium and Scadrial itself. There's still something missing though, a couple holes that the astute arcanist may have caught. Retribution is the shards of honor and odium, not honor and passion. Sazed, or even Harmony, is not a hateful being. I couldn't see Sazed fitting the idea of hatred. That's what leads us to the final dot we have to connect, which is what I believe the Ghostbloods trilogy is going to tackle. The final dot is why I believe cultivation, not preservation, is responsible for the Hero of Ages. The reason why Retribution is able to act against Scadrial, and more importantly, Sazed. The prophecy of the Hero of Ages is not complete. He shall defend their ways, yet shall violate them. He will be their savior, yet they shall call him heretic. His name shall be Discord, yet they shall love him for it. Harmony is on the path to becoming Discord. Sazed has been trying to control the intent, but it's a battle of attrition. One being's willpower versus a never-ending, nigh omnipotent source of power. As Brandon has said, holding a shard is a contest of willpower against the shard itself that, over time, is very hard to resist. We have seen Sazed resisting the opposing intents and insisting that the combination is Harmony for 300 years. More like 350 by the time Ghostbloods comes out. Discord is coming, and all the signs say it's not a matter of if, but when. A common mistake I see people talking about is odium being equivalent to hatred. Odium isn't a blind hatred though. Odium is a hatred towards someone due to their actions. Losing control of Harmony and becoming Discord will teach this lesson to Sazed. All of Scadrial will look at him with odium, yes, but I don't believe that anyone will feel that towards Sazed more than Sazed after losing control of the intent. And so, with the battle finally over, the vessel of retribution and perhaps endowment and cultivation destroyed, Sazed as Discord will see the powers before him and will know. Life is more than just ruin and preservation. Life is more than Harmony or Discord. Discord will want to shatter the pieces before it, but Sazed will give one final push before giving in to the intents of the shard and grab the powers before him, just as Marsh did when he pulled the earring out of Vin. Yes, he will be ruin. Yes, he will be preservation. But no, he will not be Discord. But what does that mean for Roshar? What does that mean for Scadrial? What about the Radiants? I largely expect the second half of the Stormlight Archives to be focusing on readjusting with a new bond that was discovered by Adolin. Light will be a very limited resource, and the lifelight from Yurthi will eventually be able to be taken away from the tower, allowing limited Radiant powers in battle. But after Sazed's new ascension, he will have access to honor and odium's power, and Sazed is used to sending out servants in the Khandra. Conveniently, there are 9 powerful Spren on Roshar, one which has already attempted to take control in the past. Sazed could remake the ones that wanted it, and since his powers have both honor and odium, Baido Mishram may be able to provide both Voidlight and Stormlight. But what do you think? Am I completely off? After all, it wouldn't be my first cultivation theory that ended up being wrong. Lift is still a dragon though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to like the video, share, and hit that subscribe button.